that Travis designed that ring?
He did. He designed it. And I had shown him a video of I just thought her stuff was so cool. So I'd shown him a video a year and a half ago. And he was just paying attention to everything, it turns out. Because when I saw the ring, I was like, oh, I know who made that. I know who made that. I know who made that. And also you listen.
That single glance became the highlight of the night, a moment millions would replay in their minds for months. For years, she had sung about deep heartbreak, about the kind of love that burns bright before fading into ash. But that night felt different. The Kansas City Chiefs had just pulled off another huge win. As Travis Kelce lifted his helmet, his eyes locked onto hers. It wasn't scripted or part of the show, yet it stole the entire spotlight. People said it looked like a scene from one of her own songs, a love story even Taylor couldn't have written better herself. Behind the cheers and flashing cameras, something deeper was growing. A spark had ignited that neither of them had planned for. Travis was the charming, confident player with a bold style and total swagger. Taylor was the world's biggest star who had mastered the art of turning feelings into music. Their worlds were never supposed to collide, but they did. Once they met, everything changed forever. It all began quietly, long before the public saw a thing. Before the memes and the headlines screamed their names, there were just two people curious about each other. Travis had gone to her concert like any other fan. Except he wasn't just any fan. He brought a friendship bracelet with his number on it, a bold move that the internet loved. Taylor didn't respond at first, but that gesture stuck with her. Maybe it was his bravery or the fact that he didn't chase fame. He was already successful, respected, and grounded in his own way. Weeks passed, and Taylor couldn't stop thinking about him. Her life was a whirlwind of rehearsals, interviews, and tour dates. But in quiet moments backstage, her mind wandered to the guy who dared to try. She had been with artists and dreamers who lived in the clouds. But Travis was real. He wasn't looking for drama. He was chasing greatness on the field. They met again on a late summer night, far away from the lights. No cameras or teams, just two people talking. Taylor later told a friend she felt a strange calm around him. Not just butterflies, but peace. That was when she realized something was different. He didn't treat her like a superstar. He treated her like a normal girl who loved baking cookies at midnight. As weeks turned into months, whispers became rumors. People analyzed every look and outfit, wondering if it was just a PR stunt. But Taylor didn't care. For once, she wasn't performing. She was just living. Travis wasn't overwhelmed by her fame. He respected her work but didn't worship her celebrity. That made him special. One night after a show, Taylor stood alone in her dressing room. Her phone buzzed with a text from Travis. "You killed it tonight. But I bet you're even better when you're just you." She smiled, realizing this wasn't a fling. This was someone who saw the real her. The media went into overdrive with endless theories. Fans searched for clues in every lyric and outfit. But the truth was simple, it was about a real connection. Still, the pressure was heavy. Taylor had loved before, and it usually ended in public chaos. She was tired of the endless questions about her heart. When Travis asked to take things slow, she knew he was protecting her peace. The first time she went to his game, the stadium nearly exploded. While the world watched the spectacle, Taylor only watched him. His focus and fire reminded her of herself. They were both at the top of their worlds, obsessed with their craft. She told her mom, "He really gets it." Later, during a quiet dinner with pizza and rain, Travis said something that stopped her. "You don't have to be perfect around me." Taylor was shocked. For years, she had lived under a microscope, judged for every move. But here was someone who just wanted her to breathe. That's when she knew he was the one who saw the woman behind the fame. Those words echoed in her mind long after that night. For the first time, she didn't overthink. She just felt safe. The next few weeks were surprisingly quiet. No leaks or photos, just two people being normal. Travis would fly out to see her shows in secret, and Taylor learned the rhythm of his world. It was a clash of lifestyles, but it worked. Both understood the weight of having the world watch them. Eventually, the public caught on. Fans connected the dots, and then came the famous photo of Taylor in a private suite with his mom. The internet erupted over the biggest crossover in history. Taylor laughed it off, but she was surprised by how Travis handled it. Other men had hidden from the light, but Travis was unbothered. He simply told reporters she was amazing. His honesty melted her. Suddenly, her songs weren't about pain anymore. They were about gratitude. She felt seen and real. But part of her feared it was too good to be true. Then the backlash started. The internet divided, and critics accused her of being a distraction. Every handhold became a debate. Taylor stayed quiet, but the harsh words hurt. One night, she suggested stepping back to protect him. Travis didn't hesitate. Let's stop caring what the world wants and care about us. That night, she cried from the relief of letting go. Their bond deepened as they shared their worlds with each other. Travis admired her greatness rather than being jealous of it. They were mirrors of each other, passionate and resilient. Despite the distance and fame, Travis always pulled her back. He made quiet, meaningful gestures that proved love should feel like calm, not chaos. A snowy night in a cabin sealed it. Taylor asked what would happen if the fame disappeared. Travis smiled and said, "Then I'll still be here." That simple truth was all she needed. She felt a grounded stillness she hadn't known in years. When they returned to the city, the viral clips began again. The comments were brutal at times, and Taylor still felt the sting of judgment. Travis noticed her silence and reminded her that he would never add to the noise. His simple honesty in interviews changed everything for her. She decided not to hide anymore. She showed up to games happy and waving, letting the world see the woman, not just the brand. She started writing music about trust and peace. Even when the media claimed she was a distraction to his career, Travis stood firm. He told her she was his balance, not a liability. That was the moment she stopped apologizing for who she was. Under the blinding stadium lights, she wasn't performing. She was finally living. She wrote 4 words in her notebook that said it all: "He feels like home." Taylor began choosing silence over spectacle to protect what they had. She didn't want to write for the world. She wanted to live for herself. They vanished for a week to a cabin in Montana with no Wi-Fi. Watching him do ordinary things like chopping would felt like magic. She realized happiness wasn't the noise of fame, but the quiet that follows it. When they returned, she was lighter and more grounded. She kept their secrets close, letting the fans wonder. Travis remained her biggest supporter, balancing his world of grit with her world of art. When tabloids tried to spark drama, Travis told her to ignore it. The ultimate moment came after a massive win when Travis walked straight to her, ignoring everyone else. He hugged her tight and whispered that she was his piece. It was the most genuine moment of the year. Taylor wrote a song just for him, a secret they shared in a quiet room. As he held her hand, she knew this wasn't just another era. This was home. Taylor was finally learning how to slow down and breathe. As the sun began to set on that final chapter, Taylor realized that the biggest change wasn't happening on a stage or a screen, but within her own heart. For 2 decades, her life had been a series of high-stakes performances, each one designed to prove her worth to a world that was often eager to see her stumble. But with Travis, the need to prove anything simply vanished. She found herself trading the frantic energy of a pop star for the steady, rhythmic pulse of a life lived with intention. The beauty of ordinary days. In the quiet weeks that followed their trip to Montana, the couple established a routine that felt revolutionary in its simplicity. While the headlines continued to swirl, speculating on everything from engagement rings to future collaborations, Taylor and Travis were focused on the small things. There were mornings spent in comfortable silence over coffee, and evenings filled with the sound of old records spinning in the background. Travis brought a sense of playful normalcy that Taylor had long forgotten existed. He taught her how to truly disconnect, to put the phone away and let the digital world fade into the background. One evening, while they were cooking dinner together, Travis looked at her and laughed. "You're doing it again," he said, nudging her gently. Taylor looked up, confused. "Doing what?" "The mastermind look," he teased. "You're planning 3 steps ahead. Just be here, Tay. The pasta isn't going anywhere." It was a small moment, but it hit her deeply. He was the only person who could call out her tendency to overthink without making her feel judged. Around him, she didn't have to be the architect of a global empire. She could just be the girl who occasionally burnt the garlic bread. The power of shared ambition. Their relationship wasn't just built on quiet moments, however. It was also fueled by a profound mutual respect for their respective crafts. Taylor found herself more inspired than ever, but the music she was writing now felt different. It was no longer a shield or a weapon. It was a celebration. She watched Travis handle the immense pressure of his career with a grace that she deeply admired. He didn't let the critics get into his head, and in turn, he helped her build a thicker skin. When Travis faced a particularly tough game or a wave of sports media scrutiny, Taylor was his rock. She understood the weight of expectation better than anyone. "They only throw stones at things that shine," she told him one night after a difficult loss. He pulled her close, resting his forehead against hers. "I don't care about the stones as long as I'm shining with you," he replied. They were two titans of their industries, but behind closed doors, they were simply two people who understood the cost of greatness and were willing to pay it together. Navigating the new normal. As the NFL season progressed and Taylor's tour dates loomed on the horizon, the reality of their bicoastal, high-profile lives began to settle in. There were logistical nightmares and constant paparazzi presence, but the chaos no longer felt threatening. They developed a shorthand for dealing with the noise, a quick text, a specific look across a crowded room, a shared joke about a particularly ridiculous tabloid story. Taylor's team, once skeptical of the pairing, began to see the positive impact Travis had on her. She was more decisive, more relaxed, and noticeably happier. The eras she had lived through, the heartbreaks, the reputations, the folklores, had all led her to this, a midnights that wasn't full of anxiety, but of peace. She realized that for years, she had been searching for a love that felt like a grand, cinematic ending, but what she found with Travis was something much better, a beginning that felt like it could last forever. The final reveal. The turning point for the public perception of their romance came during a major awards show. Usually, Taylor would arrive with a carefully curated group of friends, her every move choreographed for maximum impact. This time, she arrived with a different kind of confidence. When asked about her year and the Travis effect, she didn't give a PR-approved answer. She simply smiled and said, "It's nice to be with someone who isn't afraid of the light." That night, she won a major award, and as she stood on stage, she looked directly into the camera. She knew he was watching from a locker room halfway across the country. She didn't have to say his name for everyone to know who she was talking to when she thanked the person who reminded me that the best stories aren't the ones you write, but the ones you live. A future written in ink. As the year drew to a close, Taylor sat in her studio, looking over a pile of new lyrics. They weren't songs about the one that got away or the boy who broke my heart. They were songs about the man who stayed. They were songs about Montana snow, kitchen floor dances, and the quiet strength of a hand held in the dark. She realized that her fans had grown up with her. They had felt her pain and celebrated her triumphs, and now they were witnessing her finally find her footing. The Swifties and the Chiefs Kingdom had merged into a strange, beautiful community of people who were all rooting for this unlikely pair. In the final entry of her journal for the year, Taylor wrote a single sentence that summed up everything she had learned since that first bold move with a friendship bracelet. "The world is loud, but our love is quiet." She knew there would be more games, more tours, and more headlines. But she also knew that as long as she had that quiet place to return to, that home that felt like Travis, she could handle anything the world threw her way. The story of Taylor and Travis wasn't a PR stunt, and it wasn't a fleeting summer romance. It was a partnership of equals, a collision of two worlds that created something entirely new. It was a reminder that even for the biggest star in the sky, the most important thing is having someone to share the view with. And as the credits rolled on this chapter of her life, Taylor Swift wasn't looking for the next exit. She was exactly where she was meant to be.